Doing okay for a Sunday afternoon.
Yeah. That's for sure.
Well,
Hi, Jonathan.
How's things, guys? And,
where are you joining us from?
Yeah, I'm in Ireland. Where are you guys?
South Africa.
Cool, brilliant. Yeah, I saw it was 1 hour ahead there. Yeah, excellent.
Yeah.
I'm in Cape Town, and Sui is in Johannesburg.
Yeah. Long way, long. They're far apart from each other, aren't they? 1,000 miles or something, maybe.
Yes, it's about 2-hour plane ride.
Yeah,
about
I work for
almost a 2-day trip driving.
Yeah, I work with a guy from Joburg. So yeah.
Wow.
Good stuff. And it's.
I think we will give it until 3 or 5 at the very least.
Absolutely.
Before we start.
This is all part of the Agile Festival, yeah?
Path 82, do you name you want to use?
Sui, I started the recording. Is that right, or should I start later?
You can work away, Paula, because I've got a background on. Yeah.
Cool. So Jonathan,
Hi.
Hi. I'm just wondering, what are you looking for in this session?
Yeah, I'm new to Scrum and Agile. I have 15 years project management in web design development, but I just want to, dip my toe into. I've been, studying stuff the last 2 or 3 months. A few Agile Reflect Festival 2020 courses, and I just wanted to. The title of it just was interesting. What was it? It was comparing Scrum Master versus Project Manager, probably in an Agile environment. And I literally just want to gain. I'm a sponge at the moment, just absorbing knowledge, just to see if I can, transition. I'm 50 years old, got 20 years more working, and I want to change direction. That's all. So I'm just absorbing information at the moment. That's my background. And
awesome. Cool. I decided to change my career a couple of years back as well. Like, I've basically been an intern almost 3 times in my career because I wanted to change. So I think that if it's something that you really want, then it's never too late. Just have to go for it.
Yeah, there's no right or wrong time. You just got to do it. Exactly. Yeah.
Exactly.
Correct. And the information is there now. That's the thing.
Yes, and it's open. It's available. So on Doc's side, so Doc has more of your background in project management, but on my side, I have never been a project manager. I've been a Scrum Master, but I've been working with project managers pretty much my entire career as a Scrum Master. So hopefully we'll be able to answer different questions that you have as we go on.
Interested to see the dynamic and to see how. Yeah, completely. Thank you.
Yeah. Hi, Rob. Rob, if you were saying something, you are still on mute.
Excuse me. You're still on mute.
And mute is on mute.
Maybe it's doing what mine does, where it just freezes. Anyway, it's cool. Give it 3 more minutes, and then I think we can rock and roll. Oh yes, for everybody that is here.
Hello there, this is Rob. I'm not quite ready yet. I've joined not being slightly ready, so I'll be with you just in a couple of minutes. But I'm here and I'm looking forward to it.
No worries. Welcome, welcome. Hi Mukesh, welcome. Okay, for everybody who just joined now, we will be starting in 2 minutes. Just giving everybody a 5-minute grace time to settle in, wrap up a few things. But feel free to chat away.
Cool.
Hello all, good evening from India.
Hi Mukesh, welcome.
Thank you.
Okay, I think we can start. So welcome everybody. We'll just let everybody in as they come in. And welcome to this very interesting and often topical question in lots of environments. I know it's definitely been a question on both Scrum Masters and project managers' mind throughout the last 5 years that I have been a Scrum Master myself. So yeah, before we get into that topic, just to start off, Sue, I have a really long name, so I accept the first 2 letters because yeah, it will take you a while to get to the end of that name. So just call me Sue, and our speaker today is Dr. Mwansa, Laban Mwansa. I call him Doc. And welcome to our event as part of this Agile Festival. So just to give you a little bit of a background to this, we are celebrating 20 years since the Agile Manifesto was created. And hence this month of February, we are celebrating the entire month through having events pretty much every day for this month. So I'm sure everybody has seen the website. If you haven't already, it is 7 days in. So yeah, and then just a word to our sponsors. You know, this wouldn't be possible without them. Agile Alliance, Agile Business Consortium, Scrum Alliance, PMI, and the Business Agility Institute. Okay, so before we start, just to say that this is all made possible by volunteers. We are all volunteering our time, not getting paid for this. We're here because we want to share knowledge. That's how we build communities. One of the themes that we're having right now is Ubuntu. That means we are creating together. I am because you are. So this is our way of trying to lift everybody up and just sharing knowledge freely. Please ask that everybody just adheres to the code of conduct, which is found at this website if you haven't seen it, just to respect each other's opinion, just to share freely. This is a safe space. There's no such thing as a stupid question, especially when you're starting out. You have to ask anything and everything. And lastly, this meeting is going to be recorded. We will be sharing this recording with the event organizer so that they can keep it and share it with people later on as well. So I think those are all the T's and C's that I had to say. So I'm going to hand over to Doc soon. If you have any questions whatsoever, please do lift up your hand. If I don't see that hand, you could also just feel free to use the chat at the top of your Teams window. You'll see the little chat icon next to the participant icon. Just go in there, type in questions. If you feel you want to keep track of your questions, you can put them in there as well. And yeah, if we don't get to that question while the discussion is happening, we will then get to it at the end of the discussion and try and answer as many questions as possible. Okay, so without further ado, the roles of a Scrum Master and a Project Manager in Agile Project Teams. Doc, please just introduce yourself and then we can rock and roll.
Hi, Sui. Thank you very much. And I really appreciate for this rare opportunity to share information about Agile and also to interact with all the members, all the people from all over the world. This is exciting. It can't be more than this. My name is Laban. You can call me Laban. I'm a project manager, both traditional project manager and Agile project manager. And then also been using hands-on Agile since 2007. Let me say hands-on Agile, though I would say something like Scrum and Agile, and I've been also managing and coaching offshore teams from India, the UK, for projects we're delivering in Zambia and South Africa. I'm based in Cape Town, but most of the time I'm in Zambia. Of course, I'm Zambian. I'm pretty much into Agile. I'm certified Agile coach, and also I'm a member of PMI and other associations in project management. So I'm delighted, excited to have this opportunity to share something in the space of, we know, all of us, that Agile is trending now. There's tremendous appetite from industry to embed and adopt Agile. And this is, I don't think it's a coincidence. It's just that it's happening now. We have to embrace Agile because it's delivering value. Sui, are you able to admit?
Yes, don't worry about that. I will be admitting people.
No,
Okay.
all right, great. So maybe we can go on this another slide. Please feel free to interact. Stop me anytime to speak about any topical issues, and I'll be happy and you're more than welcome. We've got a project manager's role and Scrum Master's role. We use the word role, not position. Okay, you get project manager positions, but looking at best practice, normally these are roles, because we can play a role of a project manager, we can play a role of a Scrum Master role. So these roles are happening in Agile teams, and it's important. We've thought that it's important that we look at is there a distinctive a divide between a Scrum Master role or a project manager? Project management has been there for decades, and normally what we may call the traditional project management has existed for a number of years now, and mostly inclined to waterfall delivery of projects, where you do heavy planning and then execution, monitoring and control, and delivery of projects in deliverables. This has been associated with the traditional project management. Now, with the advent of Agile, and if you ask me the definition of Agile, I can rest assure you that there is no single definition of Agile. It's probably a family of frameworks with similar behaviors, techniques and concepts and techniques, which is the behaviors are common, the flavors of Agile. If somebody asks me, I'm doing Agile, the first question, the next question I would ask is what flavor of Agile? And this brings about for organizations agility, for software houses, for software development houses. Yes, Agile Manifesto in the year 2000 was about software, but no longer about software. Agile can be used in operations, in non-IT situations. So I would say Agile is a family of frameworks with similar behaviors, and where there is adaptability, incremental delivery of deliverables, and relying on feedbacks from the customer feedbacks. Now, one more dimension which Agile has brought in is the dimension of business value. Okay, business value, collaboration. We prefer collaboration over documentation. We prefer collaboration, honest sharing of information over processes and documentation. So Agile, we are happy to deliver value rather than just an output. These are dimensions which we are lacking in traditional project management, where we have to deliver outputs and close out the project. Now, if we look at Agile, I'm trying to just address project management, traditional project management, and probably Agile project management. What are the key differences? In my opinion, I think it's that Agile will deliver value, almost immediate value. And actually, we can use that value delivered to fund the rest of the project. So, and also emphasis on teams to respond to the business. Feedback, heavy on feedback, and that whatever we do incrementally, and the customer is part of the team. So those are the not so simple kind of ethos, Agile ethos, which must be embraced. And I would say Agile is trending, and there's so much tremendous appetite from industry to go Agile. And having said that, then I would like to also share my thoughts on specific roles. It happened here in Cape Town that one project manager was fired and hired, the company actually hired a Scrum Master in preference of a project manager. And that brought up a lot of topical issues. I mean, some speaking points. And we must be very careful, because actually Agile is not fragile, but can be fragile if not handled properly. Because Agile has got flavors. Like we said, we've got Agile, which works in software development. And believe me, Agile can also work in non-IT environments. And so we simply say we replace the word software to product, because we can also apply Agile in operations, but Agile can work also in projects. But then we've got specific roles like Scrum Master roles, product owner roles in Agile environment.
Maybe, Doc, just to give everybody a bit more context into those specific roles, what would you say is the biggest difference between a project manager and a Scrum Master? Because I think that the misunderstanding out there is that these two roles cannot coexist. Like you said with your example, people would often say, we will get rid of a project manager for a Scrum Master, or get rid of Scrum Masters for project managers. Jonathan, do you want to add on to that?
Well, that's exactly it. Like, there are these defined roles: product owner, Scrum Master, developers, business analysis that's slightly outside of it, executive stakeholders. None of the words that you read in any of the Scrum Alliance or any of the documentation mentions the project manager in the Agile framework. So that's exactly my point, Sui, is are they allowed in that environment? Can they work in that environment? Do they replace the Scrum Master? Do they coexist along with the side of Scrum Master? And that's what I was hoping to get from this.
Actually, Jonathan, you to the point. Brilliant question. And this is one aspect which must be addressed, because Agile works at a delivery level. The delivery team's concern is to deliver products according to the acceptance criteria. And having said that, Agile can work in non-project environment, and Agile can work in project environment, because the Agile team, the responsibility is a delivery of the product according to the acceptance criteria.
So maybe
if you look at the Scrum, for example, the Scrum guide doesn't have a role of project manager for obvious reasons, because project manager does not operate on the delivery level. Project manager manages work at work package level. So there must be work, and project manager can manage high-level risks, can manage stakeholders, can manage high-level scope, because we empower the Agile team must change at the low level, at the delivery level. Believe me, even in Agile project management, there is change requests, because we still don't want a scope creep. We still need to baseline the scope on a high level. So what normally happens is that contracts, work items, scope of work is outcome-based rather than output-based. So there is what we call co-creation of value between the delivery team. The delivery team will be more concerned with the backlog of what to deliver to the customer. They will assume that somebody else has justified this work, who in that case is a project manager, who should keep stakeholders, the sponsors, key stakeholders reporting, and also doing high-level impact analysis on the project, more or less to provide oversight of the project rather than the delivery team. The project manager is seen as a boss. Okay, that's very key to the definition of Jonathan. Project manager is a boss because he must manage work and people. Agile teams must not be managed, must be led and coached. That is why we don't want project manager in the Agile team, because we don't want a boss in the Agile team. The Agile team must be empowered to make decisions, to decide what to deliver. In a time box or a sprint, the team decides what to deliver together with the customer.
So maybe, Doc, I just want to jump in here because I wanted to reply to Jonathan, but then my signal decided to go on holiday. And I don't blame it, it's Sunday.
Okay.
I think that what's very important is that when you're going into the Agile environment, you need to decide for yourself what role you would like to play in that. and what framework you want to try out. So if you decide to go the Scrum route, you're not going to find the role project manager, like the words will be completely different, because what Scrum has done, they have essentially taken all the roles of the project manager and they've distributed them against what is now being called as the accountabilities, what was then known as the roles. That's between the Scrum Master, the product owner, and the development team. So what you often have, you ask the question, who manages the budget and who looks after that? That role will go to the product owner because it has been broken down at that level. However, if you're going to something like Kanban, Kanban will have something maybe very close, but maybe different to what you would find in Scrum. And then you also have Agile Project Management, which I think would be more aligned to what you are used to, but more in using an Agile framework. Then we can go on and on forever in terms of, which one is which. I think that the closest ones that you could potentially find would be, am I disconnected?
No.
Yes, because when you look at Agile, there's some flavors which support software development, for example. And there are some flavors in software development which can work. For example, in infrastructure or capital projects, you would not probably use a SAFE because you still need a project manager.
Sorry, I'm back.
Hello?
I just cut my power. Sorry about that.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah.
What I was saying is we must be very careful when we look at Agile frameworks, because some frameworks are specific to IT, like extreme programming, safe technological projects. But if you talk about oil and gas infrastructural projects, these still maintain the traditional approach, because you can do heavy planning for 6 months planning for a project and go into execution, and probably some agile frameworks will be suitable for software development projects, not non-IT projects. And this is why when we're chartering a project, we always have to be very careful to determine project approach. Either agile, hybrid. If we go agile, then most components are very technological, because we must be flexible to respond to the environment in terms of feedback and incremental delivery. And you will find that when you have a project methodology, you will charter a project, then you need to decide before you embark on a project what approach or strategy you're going to use. Are you going to use hybrid? Are you going to use waterfall? Are you going to use agile? And if you're going to use agile, then which flavor of agile? And maybe I stand to be corrected. I think the most popular is Scrum and Kanban, which we use both is Scrum Bam. The Kanban is flow of work. Okay, the flow of work, and also you're trying to eliminate waste in the process, because if resources, maybe you've got just 2 testers, maybe you can allocate resources to other needy assignments. And this is particularly why we probably chose the Scrum role, because Scrum is a bit more popular framework for Agile, and that there is some kind of conflict, because a Scrum Master must be a servant leader, must be a coach, a mentor for the team, because the team can backslide. Once the team are using Agile, they can backslide back to old ways of working. Agile is a new ways of working, new philosophy, new mindset. and we need a coach. And the Scrum Master must ensure that the team is adhering to Scrum ceremonies. Like daily stand-up meetings must not be more than 15 minutes. If it's more than 15 minutes, then it's something else. It's not part of Scrum. Where daily stand-up meetings are followed, including some Scrum artifacts like bench charts, progress reports, and then you can also look at a sprint retrospective. There is stand-ups. Project manager can attend that, but normally you have risk registers, all the artifacts, what we call information radiators in the Scrum Warzone kind of agile team room, where everything should be low-tech artifacts, risk register, issue registers, everything hang on the walls. And when there's a stand-up meeting, PM can walk in, hi guys, and walk out, because PM is seen as a boss, command and control. And this is why it is actually very difficult for a project manager to act as a Scrum Master at the same time. Because when you have an agile delivery team, after the sprint review, they have a sprint retrospective. A sprint retrospective is where we look at what went well, what didn't go well, what we can do better. But this is peer-based. There should be no boss. So if the PM is attending, then I'm going to say what I want the PM to hear rather than what happened. And that conflicts what really happened. Because when you have a retrospective, everybody must laugh about it. What went bad? What we can do better on the peer level. So there is cover-up in the agile team. There must be cover-up, honesty, transparency. There must be no CC culture that if I'm not happy, then I CC everybody. No. One team culture, that we are one team. So the accolades goes to the team, not to individuals.
So,
working in silos. Yes, please.
Can we maybe just pause there and just pick up a couple of questions, because there was a whole bunch of information that was shared. Does anybody require a bit more context or have any questions based on what Doc just mentioned?
Yeah, hold on. Yeah, sorry. So is there a risk register? Is there an issues register within the Agile framework, methodology?
I just want to pick up on what Doc said earlier. He mentioned collaboration over documentation, not that there is no documentation whatsoever. So I think that there is and Doc, I'm gonna hand this over to you because obviously it's your specialty. So as a Scrum Master on our side, right? Depending on obviously which flavor of Agile you have, we are required on our side to always be transparent about whatever issues that we have. We refer to them as impediments, what's blocking us. Then we also we are involved in all the sessions whereby we discuss risks. So I am in an environment whereby I work with project managers. Well, my job is focused more on teams and building the teams, and the project manager sits more above the team. So they will definitely have a risk register. They will do what they always do, but their biggest challenge will be letting go of control, because essentially with the Agile mindset, they are decentralizing that control that was previously there, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Brilliant. So the teams are empowered, and
Yes.
The team, in consultation with customer, product owner, and the delivery team, they will do what we call even trading. Like this feature is the same effort, so we can trade in with another feature instead of affecting the scope creep. Instead of affecting this, a change request, we can either trading a feature. So the whole team agreed to be very adaptive, that this was very important now, like 2 months ago. Now it's not as important. Can we develop this? It's the same effort, so the team can make such decisions. And like Sue said, the project manager is almost providing oversight, high-level risks, and it's actually recommended to have low tech in form of a risk register. We can hang a risk register on the wall, and the thing is, it must be transparent. Everybody, nothing. We must not hide anything. Even if I've got a backlog on my laptop, it's not good enough. I must put it on the wall. Everybody must see you. And who is having impediments, who is being blocked, the Scrum Master can help to remove impediments and collaborate. But PM normally has a contact person, must be talking to the Scrum Master every day and the product owner within the team. And also making sure that we actually have what we call, this is specific to Prince2 Agile anyway, what we call Agileometer. It measures how agile you are. You can do assessments. Your velocity, you can see assessment, your transparency, your collaborations, acceptance of Agile, because the team must be happy to work in Agile, not just work in Agile, must be happy and looking forward to work in Agile, and empowered to make sure that there is what we call co-creation of value. And where the conflict happens is because the Scrum Master is a servant leader, and that role can be, anyone can play that role. In fact, it builds on team building. For example, where you are running multiple projects, I can be Scrum Master on one project, and you are, Jonathan, you become a Scrum Master on another project. So it's a role rather than a job position. So it's a role acting as a coach and also motivating the team that they are adhering to the ceremonies, Scrum ceremonies. I'm more inclined to Scrum because we're talking about the Scrum Master role. And also speaking to the project manager. Project manager, it would be strange if Scrum Master is reporting to the sponsor anyway, because project manager must report to the sponsor of the project, because project manager must make sure that wherever there is work is managed at work package level. But then the team will break down the work package into a backlog and package it into sprints. But project managers should still report to the sponsor and be accountable, rather responsible for managing risks, being proactive, and also reporting. Budget controls. There are certain things like end value management in projects where we do estimates to complete the project. At that level, project manager must do impact analysis. When their issues are escalated, impact analysis using the business case for that project. And I'm not sure whether Scrum Master will have time to be doing impact analysis and business case reviews. And those are the aspects where the project manager will come in and look at end value management for projects where we do estimates on actual cost, budgeted cost, estimate to completion. How much more do we need? Are we ahead of schedule, behind schedule, ahead of under budget, above budget? What would be extra more? Suppose, for example, crashing the schedule. Most projects, you will see that, for example, 6 months project, because of competitive activities, you must deliver it in 4 months. and this is where now you must do the what if analysis and kind of impact analysis, which project manager must still do anyway. And in my opinion, we still need a project manager at the management level. Then the delivery level, we need the Scrum Master with the team and to engage to empower the team to make decisions. For example, decisions what we call when work is being, for example, contracted work, we have outcome-based. Outcome-based, it means that the delivery team will be more interested in the outcome rather than the output. And we can have the teams being supported at the delivery level. That's my understanding is probably best coming from the Prince 2 concepts of layered governance in projects where you have delivery level, management level, and steering, directing level. Then you have corporate levels of governance, project governance, that you still maintain the governance, and then you, yes, please, hi.
Hi, so there is a question in the chat around what you just described as the role of the product owner, as the role of the product manager. And Jonathan is asking if you were describing the role of the product owner rather than the project manager. And just to maybe answer that, I think this goes back to what we were saying earlier about what flavor of Agile are you running in the organization? Okay, so if an organization decides to run a pure Scrum framework within, then the chances of you finding project managers are very little, because yes, the product owner will definitely is the person that speaks to stakeholders. So most stakeholder management lies on the side of the product owner. So they will look at, what product is coming, what needs to be done. Mr. CEO or business sponsor or business owner, what do you want? And how am I going to represent you? So almost as if that person is the advocate for the sponsor or business at the end of the day. If you get into an organization whereby you have project managers and they're running Scrum, then what would happen oftentimes is they would try and give the product owner focus on just the product, what is being built. So the product owner will often say, okay, this is the product that we want. It must be built in this way. This must be done first. They will provide that order and priority that the team requires in order to self-organize and decide how they're going to do the work. So product owner, what? Then the team, how are we going to do it? Then the Scrum Master will be more like the oil that's flowing. You know how you're going to do it. Now I'm just here to try and coach you, try and empower you, remove your impediments. And when I say remove impediments, sometimes it's not within the power of the Scrum Master to remove that impediment, but by communicating with the project manager, maybe that person is the one that can remove that. Then that, it's a collaborative way of working, and also making sure that everything is being done based on Agile principles. If it's Scrum, based on Scrum principles. So it pretty much depends. So if you're in an organization whereby you are following Scrum, then you find that a whole bunch of Scrum concepts and Scrum behaviors are what are going to be enforced. But then if you're in an environment whereby you are now more Agile PM Prince 2, then that's what is going to happen. So it pretty much depends where you are. Then you have where you have Kanban, that's also going to be a little bit different. Where you have SAFe, it's going to be a little bit different. In SAFe, they actually have RTE, which is a release train engineer, which will play a lot of the coordinating roles that will need to happen. So SAFe is a scaled framework, which means it's a whole bunch of teams coming together to work in one product. So the person that will be coordinating everything, that will be the RTE. So when it comes to roles and responsibilities, it very much depends on two things: what flavor of Agile you're running, and two, what your organization decides to do as well. I think it's one of the reasons why Agile Alliance says we are framework agnostic. We will support whatever flavor we like. If you are running Agile project management, if you're running Scrum, Kanban, as long as you're staying true to the Agile principles, and that's what we want to follow. So those two are very important. That's why you find difference in responsibilities and accountabilities in organizations.
Well said. I think just also to add one more thing, which we must take cognizant that actually Agile can work in operations, in business as usual. You can use Agile very well. And this is the one reason why we don't need to define the role of project manager in Scrum, because we can use Scrum in BAU. We can use Scrum in BAU. We don't need a project. So it makes sense why we will not define project manager role when we can use Scrum in BAU.
Yeah, business as usual.
Yes, yeah, in operations.
So
and it works very well in operations.
Yes, it does. So you always have to think of the principles behind whatever it is you're doing. So the first step, especially when you're starting that, Jonathan, you mentioned earlier that you want to find out, if you want to move and whatnot, focus on Agile itself and understand the principles that are put in place, because all the other frameworks, are under that umbrella. Whatever they have decided or they have set out, it stems from the background of the Agile Manifesto and the Agile principles. As a Scrum Master myself, there's oftentimes I will look at a fellow Scrum Master and ask them, so are you trying to be Scrum or are you trying to be Agile? What's the point? All of those things will happen because people do different things. But we always try and make sure that we are trying to create value. Whatever you ask, whatever is happening, whatever conflict, we always want to know, okay, what value are we trying to produce, and how do we best co-create that value, or what do we need to do to get to that level whereby we actually have this value that has been created. So they're not meant, project manager and Scrum Master, they are not meant to be competing roles. It's just that because of the way that some of the frameworks are structured, whereby they have decentralized or everything that a project manager is responsible for and spread it out, that has led to certain companies. I know at one point, Standard Bank decided that there will be no project managers. We are just going straight into Agile coaches and Scrum Masters. So that is an approach that they chose, but it's not the only approach that's there. So they can be very much complementary to each other. But the challenge that you have, and the reason why we'll clash a little bit, is because when you are responsible for certain things as a project manager, you are put in a place whereby you need to be almost in control over certain things. As a Scrum Master, my personality is completely different. In order for me to be a Scrum Master, I need to enable, which means that I cannot tell the team what to do per se. My job is to help them identify the problem. They need to find that problem. If I find the problem for them, then I'm spoon feeding and I'm actually defeating my purpose as well at times. So that's why getting that raw transfer from project manager to Scrum Master is a big challenge. It's not because you're doing something wrong. It's because what being a Scrum Master requires of you is something that requires your mind to change. Your personality needs to change a little bit, which is why I know there are some people that can be project manager and Scrum Master at the same time. But for me, I feel like it's having a double personality. You can keep it up to a certain point, but they will meet and intersect at some point, and then it's kind of like, okay, so which one are you going to go for? And I'm saying this because I'm the firstborn. I am used to telling people what to do. Becoming a Scrum Master required me to let that go completely. I cannot tell you what to do. Even if you're taking too long to make this decision, I need to be able to enable you to get to that point. That's why they say Agile is not a silver bullet, but it's something that will help you identify where your issues are a whole lot quicker, and also help you produce value faster than, let's say, a 6-month project. You only see the results at the end of 6 months, maybe not. And And then by that time, maybe the customer doesn't want it. So what Agile is trying to do is, okay, this is what we need to do. What can we do in the next 1 week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, or 4 weeks that will give us something that's tangible that we can show to say we have added value. Do we like it? Yes or no? Maybe change it. Then we'll go into the next iteration again. So it's two different roles. Yeah, exactly. So that would be, if I would say, if you're trying to transition, that would be your biggest challenge. Or when you're doing both roles, that would be your biggest challenge. Letting go. Yeah, my signal is driving me mad today. But yeah, I hope you got everything that I said.
Well said, because look, even contracts, there is what we call agile contracts, because if a contract is waterfall, then it has already restricted the delivery team. And normally we go for agile enabled contracts where we work for outcome based rather than output based. So again, we must be very careful, because project management is not for IT only. Okay, you look at the oil and gas construction industry, and can a Scrum Master perform as much as a Scrum Master can perform in IT, the software development industry? So, and this is specific to flavors. It's specific. It's, let me, for lack of maybe a better word, circumstantial. And this is why, in my opinion, when you envisioning a project, you really have to think through the methodology, the approach, which you're gonna use. I've seen most companies backslide, and most companies dump Agile because it didn't work for them. They go back to waterfall. Sometimes the stakeholders are not ready for waterfall. The Agile team wants to work in Agile. There's no feedback coming through. So you can't be that Agile which you want. So it's the whole, I would say, it's Agile is not binary, like 1 or 0. Agile is something which goes with maturity, especially for enterprises, new enterprises which are embracing Agile. There's a lot of mistakes which is going on around. I see it in various platforms and companies making various mistakes. As long as they learn from it and do the best to get value, like Sue said, at the end of the go, who doesn't want value anymore? Agile's premise is to deliver value quickly and adapt to the environment, be flexible. That's the agility we're talking about. All these are roles which can be played with the human aspect, because in Agile, we prefer collaboration over processes. So interaction, honesty, the mindset. In big projects now, we have psychologists in teams to look at the mindset part of it, the growth mindset, and whether people are adapting to new ways of working or not, and all that. It's not easy to change the mindset, especially if people have got comfort zones, different ways of working. And you can't say next week we go Agile. It's not possible, because they will backslide, work differently. That's why also most companies will think having a coach, Scrum Master, it's more money. We don't want to pay. So project manager acts as a Scrum Master as well, dual roles. That's what you find on the ground, in practice, in industry, because the Scrum Master will need to be paid extra, because a Scrum Master, is it a 2-day, 3-day course? It's extra techniques and tools. So you need to pay a Scrum Master more money. And to save money, companies will say, let's merge the roles, project manager, command and control, with servant leadership, because we don't have money to pay a Scrum Master. And that's what is happening. But that's wrong, in my opinion.
So we do, funny how time flies, and I thought that we had time. There's only 9 minutes left. So maybe we could take some, yes, we could take some Q&A. Does anybody have a question, a specific question that they would like to raise? I would say that if it is something that you are interested and you want to go in, definitely find the Agile community within your area. Or now that we are under lockdown globally, you can find an Agile community outside of your area. That's also cool, because this is where you get lots of support and lots of people that will definitely answer a whole bunch of your questions, whether you are starting out, you're stuck, there's an issue that you're going through. For example, within South Africa, we do have the Scrum User Group of South Africa. We have a lean coffee every first Thursday of the month at 7:30, and it's usually filled with Scrum Masters and project managers who, you know, they have questions. What about this? What about that? I was a project manager, but I'm stuck here. We also have a meetup every second Wednesday as well. So there are so many communities out there. You just need to reach out to them, and I'm sure there's lots in your own neighborhood. We are here to help. I will definitely share the link. There is an app. There's a whole bunch of different meetups there. So you'll find Agile Nigeria, for example. You'll find Agile Scotland. There's so many. You just have to look for it. But I'll definitely share the link where you can find the worldwide initiatives and communities that are out there. Oh, sure. I will definitely share the African ones. No problem. Anybody else have a question?
I have a question, if I can ask it this way.
Go for it.
Right. Yeah, thank you. I'm in the process of transitioning into project management at the moment. I've previously done administration and I've been learning software development, and I think I'm better as a project manager in that kind of role, overseeing that. I am aware of some ways of getting into project management in the sense of being a project support officer or PMO. How would you recommend getting into being a Scrum Master? And are there sort of standard ways of getting into it, or how did you get into it?
So that depends. What do you feel for? Do you want to go Scrum Master route, or do you want to go product owner route? Because I think that you could potentially excel in both. Product owner, you will definitely be a little bit more comfortable with, because they take on a whole bunch of project manager responsibilities that they had previously, you know, like the budget and stakeholder management and all of that. But anyway, either whichever one you choose, I would say the easiest way to get into it is to start doing it wherever you are at first. So that's how I started. I was in an organization and I wanted to become a Scrum Master, and I was given that opportunity. And when I wasn't given that opportunity, I still implemented it and applied it in whatever I was doing. So wherever I was, I did that. So what that gave me was experience that I needed to move to a place where I could just concentrate on that. What I also did was I got certified. I got so you can get, there's like a whole bunch of certifications you can get. The most popular ones are as a Scrum Master, the Scrum Alliance ones, and the Professional Scrum Master one. So that's scrum.org. So the Scrum Alliance and scrum.org that you can go with. I did scrum.org because that exam, I could do it without going for training. But it was a very hard exam to pass. And I think it's $150 for PSM1. So you could write it, fail it, write it again, and fail it. So the way I looked at it was, I can spend $150 5 times and eventually get it, or I can spend, I'm not sure in dollars because I'm thinking in rand now, I can spend 22,000 one time and do the CSM route where I need to go for training first before becoming certified. So it pretty much depends on which side you want to go. If you go PSM, the advantage is that your professional Scrum Master certifications do not expire. If you go CSM with Scrum Alliance, those will expire. So I'm just going to put it in there. So while I was practicing, I got my certifications, and that enabled me when I started looking to say, I am certified and I have been doing it within my company for the past 2.5 years, but I want to move into a place whereby I can grow further and, there's a bigger or there's a wider implementation of this particular framework.
So one other avenue you can, also additional avenue you need to is to get a mentor. And make sure when you get a mentor that is formalized, so that you get something like you are being groomed, because certain roles, they don't have something like junior project manager, junior Scrum Master. There's nothing like that, because you have to take ownership of that role. And in most organizations now, it's formalized to have mentorship programs where you have practicing Scrum Masters, product owners, project managers. They mentor some juniors in case there is a situation where you could, because it goes like this. You could not be maybe a project manager because you haven't been one before. So how do you become a project manager? In my opinion, there's nothing like junior project managers, assistant project manager. It doesn't exist, because when you're a project manager, Scrum Master, you must own decisions. You must make decisions and have certain attributes which can only be over grooming over a period of time. That is why make sure you have a mentorship program in your organization, or approach one of the senior guys for mentorship and make it formalized. Then you can grow that way, and one day you can become a Scrum Master or a product owner. And of course, certification, the best teacher, I think it's a hands-on. I know a lot of project managers who are not certified, but I always encourage them. But good project managers, but they are not certified. But you can be certified as an added. When you get certification, it's just a confirmation that you know, but you need to practice and become a good role player.
Thank you.
So
That was a lot of useful information for me to go away with. Yeah.
You're welcome.
So I just posted meetup.com. That's where most of the communities are set up, wherever you are in the world. I've put in a screenshot whereby just type in Agile, and then it will come up with a list of different communities. I also put in a link to the South African one, the one that I am a part of. So we'll post things there. But yeah, just look for Agile Nigeria or Agile Kenya, and then you will find them. You just have to search in there, then you'll find different things. I think maybe, Doc, what we can also do is we can just put our details on LinkedIn. If anybody, our LinkedIn details in this chat, if anybody would like to send us a LinkedIn message for, any further clarifications, or if there's something that we haven't answered, we are both active there, and you could just drop us a message, and then we are happy to answer that.
Sure. It will be a pleasure, absolute pleasure.
So this one is mine. And then Doc will put his in there as well. It's a daunting thing, but what you just have to do is be willing to learn and fail and be open, because once you get into that, that is exactly what you'll be telling the teams, and you need to believe it first. It is not it's not easy, but it's not difficult as well per se, but you are going to need a little bit of endurance and perseverance, especially when dealing with teams, because I think at a Scrum Master level, you would be shocked at the amount of team emotions and personalities that you end up dealing with as well, which is, I think it's a little bit different when you're dealing with stakeholders, because business is business. When you're dealing with teams, sometimes it's I didn't like the way this person acted in this meeting, and now, you know, I have an issue. Now we need to sit down, let's talk about it. It's a lot of different problem solving techniques. There's always, let's get together, let's talk about this. But then when you become a Scrum Master or a coach, now you have to sort of start, what do you call it? You need to inception people's minds at times. Oh, I understand what you're saying. How do you think you would have dealt with it? Something that my coach used on me so many times when I had an issue and I just wanted him to give me the solution. He always threw back the question back at me, reflective thinking. How do I think I can solve my own problem? And that's what you're going to have to do to your teams as well. So the best thing is to start implementing wherever you are. It's really cool if you do get certified, so that when you start moving to an organization that has a bigger implementation, you can say, I am certified and I have experience dealing with it. What also helps is if you can find like Scrum Master internships, that's really cool. Usually the communities will have a whole host of initiatives that they'll have to help people. I know on our side, we have coaching initiatives, we have speaker initiatives. If you need to be mentored, things like that, we do post a whole bunch of them there. And yeah, just reach out to anybody in the Agile community. We are here to share our information because that is one of our biggest things that we have to start with, get people to share information and not hold it back. So yeah, just reach out to us and we're happy to help, happy to connect, and yeah, happy to share.
Cool. As the doctor said earlier on, it's more psychology these days than business. Managing teams, you have to know the strengths and weaknesses of your team.
Yeah,
it's amazing.
Indeed.
Yeah.
It's so fun.
Cool. Okay, thank you very much indeed.
Thank you for coming.
Cool.
Yeah,
Thank you very much. It was a really interesting and exciting, very good questions coming from you.
Yeah.
Thanks for your time on as you say, on a Sunday. Take care. All the best.
Cool, you too.
You too.
Bye.
Bye.
Goodbye.
Bye-bye.
Bye, guys. Take care. Happy to have seen you.
Bye.
Nchimunya,
Thank you for coming.
I've seen Nchimunya in the previous meetup too. She was she was hosting the one just before, and I understood. Sulotishi, you are from South Africa, and Nchimunya is Guinea. That's right, Guinea. No?
So we are actually both Zambians, but we're in different countries. You are muted. She's Zambian, but in Ghana, and I'm Zambian, but in South Africa.
Oh, you guys are really covering all of Africa. Well, I'm Moroccan and based between Germany and Morocco, but I'm looking to come back to Morocco soon. And I've been trying to connect for a long time across Africa, but it didn't work very well. But since Corona, it's become much easier. So most of my contacts were all in South Africa. You guys are very much online, but I don't have any contacts. Yes, I have a lot in Senegal, but I'm looking to just, over the next 5 years, just connect with as many people. I think we can learn from each other a lot and collaborate and hold international meetups in Africa itself. Let's see how this evolves. We had organized the Agile conference last year. It was called Mediterranean because Morocco, unfortunately, is focused too much on the Mediterranean. So Turkey, Italy, of course, France, Spain, that's obvious. But I'm looking to try to shift the focus away from, enrich the community with exchange across all of Africa. And so I will add you both on LinkedIn and see, who knows? Maybe you can hold. All right. Well, thank you very much for your time and take care.
Oh, we'll do. I think we're actually trying to set up a meetup I think it's in March. I have to get the details, but we actually want to do a meetup where we collaborate with Agile Egypt, Agile Nigeria, and Agile Kenya, at least 2 of them, and see where we can go. So we definitely are looking forward to collaborating with everybody. And now that, you know, we are Zooming and teaming each other, it is so much easier.
Oh, awesome. I would appreciate if you invite me. I dropped my LinkedIn earlier, but I'll
Yes.
add you.
Cool. I will also add you, and I will share that on LinkedIn as well. Cool.
Let me just type the name of Nchimunya too, so I can look her up on LinkedIn. It's Kabunda. Just take care. Stay healthy. See you in the coming meetups in this wonderful festival.
Definitely.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Cool. I think we have one more straggler. It's straddler. Yo, English. When you fell to English. Are you still trying? Let's see if I can do this, because normally we just leave the meeting. I've never closed the Teams meeting. And you're muted as well. Okay, I'm just going to move you from the meeting. Same. Okay, there we go. We can